This is TWiT.
We are accustomed to breaches. We've seen a lot of them, from Sony to Yahoo to AOL. It's become a way of life in the enterprise where we know that the data is eventually going to make its way out. But there's something about this latest breach that just has us, well, stroked the wrong way. It's a hack, a smack, and some hacks. Now, the Equifax breach and insider trading scandal is still in progress. It's still growing. Yesterday, Equifax announced that their security had been breached and that potentially half of the adult population of the United States had personally identifying information exposed. They've been vague on details of the breach because of the ongoing investigation, but here's what we can gather. First, Atlanta-based Equifax is one of the big three suppliers of credit information in the U.S. In fact, it's one of the largest in the world. It employs almost 10,000 people and gathers and stores information on more than 800 million consumers and almost 90 million businesses worldwide. The breach that we're speaking of was discovered on July 29, 2017. Equifax says that the attackers, quote, exploited a U.S. website application vulnerability to gain access to certain files, unquote. We know that the attackers had access to the names, birth dates, social security numbers, addresses, driver's license numbers, and other data for 143 million people. Now, that other information includes things like credit card numbers, of which 209,000 U.S. consumers were affected, as well as personally identifying information on dispute documents of credit charges for about 182,000 consumers. Also, hidden in the release is the fact that Equifax has also admitted that information on Canadian and UK citizens may have also been accessed. Okay, so this is the playing field. This is what we know. These are the facts that we can confirm. Now let's go ahead and break it down into a little bit of analysis. Cheebert, this is the biggest breach we've experienced, not in terms of the number of users. The Yahoo breach is still much bigger than that, with more than 1 billion. But this is the biggest in the terms of the amount of sensitive data that was released. We're not talking about just a username, just a password, just a little bit of personally identifying information. This is all the big ticket items: Social Security, name, date of birth, address, credit history, dispute history. I mean, it's much easier to create a false persona with the information that leaked out of Equifax than ever leaked out of any other hack, be it Home Depot or Sony. So let's talk a little bit about what this means. What exactly is it about the story that makes it so grand? What is it that has shocked the world, not just of the tech people, not just of the IT people, but everyone who even remotely might have their information with Equifax?
I say to everybody in the United States and Canada and so forth, join the club. You now feel like I felt when OPM lost all my personally identified information off my security clearance paperwork. I predict that if you are going to buy a stock, buy something like LifeLock or something like that, because this is ridiculous. I personally think that maybe, just maybe, we might want to start seriously thinking about revamping how we do credit checks, because we have 3 corporations that have so much personally identifiable information on the population that it almost makes it so the credit application processes can't happen anymore. You can't trust it. So I really wonder. Equifax, come on, really? Sorry, man. Back to you.
Let's talk about that. Actually, the Cheebert, it's very good that you bring that up, that maybe it's time to look at how we do credit checks. We've been comfortable with this system, in which, at least in the United States, we have the 3 big credit bureaus. And anytime we go to apply for credit, be it a loan, maybe we're looking to get a new car, or even just a new credit card, they check with those 3 agencies to see what our credit history looks like. Now, we've been okay with that because we assume that all that information must be locked away. In fact, a lot of us don't even know exactly how much information those companies are gathering on us legally and keeping it legally. Lou, I want to throw this over to you. Is there a better way? Is there a better way to do credit checks? Or do you have to have a centralized repository of credit information in order to make a sound financial decision on whether or not a new client is a good risk?
I don't think you don't have to have a central repository of any piece of data. As long as you can somehow piece the data together in the end, I don't think it needs to be a central spot. It doesn't need to be secured the same way, especially if it's, data that might not be identifiable. You can separate these things apart. My potential or, potentially fake issues that I have with my, my credit. Let's say I have a bunch of issues. They don't have to be part of my identifiable information anywhere. That could be retrieved from some unknown, data storage location that's been encrypted and highly regulated. And even if they get that data, they will never be able to kind of turn it back on me. And so I don't know why this was, why this was a big problem for them. It seems like they, I don't want to open any boxes here, but I think, they should have been regulated on the data they were collecting, and the data that's now leaked, they should be held accountable for. They shouldn't have waited as long as they did. And this also shows the problems with now the fact that the Social Security number is another discussion that we should have in the future about like ridding ourselves of this one thing that identifies us all. There's lots of things here that we should probably be talking about.
Actually, I'm glad that you brought that up, because we've also got Woody in the chat room who is echoing one of your sentiments, and that's the fact that it took them 6 weeks to announce this. Now, Cheebert, you and I are very clear on our stance on this. We believe in 100% transparent failure. And not only that, we believe that there should be a rule about 100% transparent failure. We should reward companies that immediately get the word out, that try to protect their consumers. We should give them the benefit of the doubt if they do, and give them legal protections if they come forward. This is the exact opposite case. This is old corporate America saying we're going to sit on it until we figure out how to do damage control, and maybe people will not be so concerned about it a month or 2 months from now. They found this hack on July 29th. They say they moved to immediately stop it and investigate it, but the fact that we haven't heard about it for a month and a half, all the while this information is public, how is that not criminal?